Welcome to the BYU MOA. My name is Jana Emmer, and I am one of the curators and the head of our education, and we're delighted to do a little Facebook Live today featuring one of the artists in our collection. And we are really fortunate to have two of his pieces. His name is Daniel Ridgeway Knight. We have two of his pieces in our collection. One is the earlier of the two. This is called The Harvesters from 1887. And both of the pieces that we have feature French peasants in kind of sunlit, beautiful scenes, and that became the signature style of Daniel Ridgeway Knight. So this is the earlier, and then the later of the two is called Le Premier Chagrin in French, or The First Grief, from 1892. And again, both of them show his really signature style, which is French peasants in the landscape. And to understand them a little better, a little bit of his background is helpful. So Daniel Ridgeway Knight was from Pennsylvania. He studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, and there, as many American artists did, decided that he needed to go to Europe to really continue his training. So in 1861, he went to France and there studied at the L'École des Beaux-Arts. And he was there for 2 years and beginning to develop this signature style that we see in these later paintings. But interestingly, this was a tumultuous time in the United States. Of course, it was the Civil War. And so after 2 years in France, he felt that he needed to go back to America and fought in the Union Army. And upon the conclusion of that, he returned to France and essentially became kind of an expatriate, like a sergeant and many others who stayed in France for the rest of their, stayed in Europe and stayed in France mostly for Knight for the rest of his career. And it was there that he did these two paintings that are now part of our permanent collection, very generous gifts of Jack and Mary Loves Wheatley. And they become beloved pieces, particularly this First Grief. So let's look at it a little bit more closely. You can see this scene. The grief is this kind of tender moment between these two young peasant girls. One very tenderly consoling the other in that first grief, this moment of heartache that we don't know but begin to kind of imagine the narrative. And you'll notice that this is very much in kind of what is referred to as the academic tradition. Particularly the foreground of this painting, you can see how the detail kind of tightly painted on the faces, the clothing, beautiful blush on their cheeks. And they are, as you notice, idealized versions of peasants. Not dirty, there's not a lot of mud or dirt or even symbols of their work. They're pausing. And this is somewhat typical France after the Industrial Revolution, many people moving to the city. Often these scenes of peasants in moments, beautiful moments like this, were a little bit of an escape, very popular among the upper classes and upper class collectors. And Ridgeway Knight was highly influenced by earlier artists, Barbizon painters such as Jean-Francois Millet, and then of a later generation, Jules Bastien Lepage was a strong influence on Ridgeway Knight. And you'll see that idealized paint and academic style in the foreground, but if you notice in the background, he's adopting a much more impressionistic brushstroke, loosely painted. So he's clearly aware of these new avant-garde styles, but chooses to apply them kind of in the background. So we see a little bit of a mix of both of them happening in this painting. So this, again, was very popular subject matter. This was displayed in the Salon of 1892 in Paris. And the artist had won so many awards prior to this that it wasn't eligible for award, but the jury liked it so much that it was featured on the cover of the catalog that year. So it continued to attract attention, and again, I think even today we are drawn to the sweet moment, this kind of moment of respite in the landscape. So I think this is a lovely introduction to Knight and his style, and we will invite you to come to the museum on your own and enjoy both of these paintings. Hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as we love having them in our collection. Thanks so much.